But the big breaking news story today in politics is that longtime Jacob Zuma legal representative and EFF leader, Advocate Dali Mpofu SC, announcing that he is joining Jacob Zuma's Mkhonto Wesizwe party. Mpofu, of course, serving as the EFF's national chairperson from 2014 to 2019. So plenty of analysis taking place on this radio station, on various other platforms today about why, how, when, who, all of the journalism questions. No better than to hear it from the source himself. So Advocate Dali Mpofu SC joining us now. Advocate, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mandy. Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. We'll let you know if there's a problem with the line. So firstly, let's start with the why. Advocate, why have you decided to leave the EFF and why have you decided to join MK?
Yeah, thank you, Mandy. As I was saying in another interview, unlike my decision when I left the ANC, which was really out of disgruntlement with the direction that it was taking. This is a different matter. Here, really, there isn't so much of any push factors. I just feel, after my own analysis of the situation, particularly the situation that was presented to us by the voters in May, that the MK party stands a better chance to achieve my own dreams of black unity and progressive unity, and unity of the people across the country, to take us away from the quagmire that we have been placed in by the so-called by the right-wing GNU project, for example. And so, yeah, I just feel that way. I mean, other people might feel differently. And therefore, I had to follow my own political beliefs and conscience and analysis of the situation. Yeah.
You said that there were no push factors. Of course, the immediate speculation goes to whether or not you had some kind of fallout with Julius Malema. I have heard you in many interviews today speaking about the fact that you haven't spoken with him yet, and you don't need to speak with him. I've heard you say that you don't need to justify your decision, which I completely understand. But was there anything that happened that between you and Julius Malema, or was that not a factor?
No, absolutely not a factor. I mean, my relationship with him is, apart from what has happened now, is exactly the same. And, we occasionally have discussions about political developments and so on. So I expect that to continue. If it continues, it will be well and good. Yeah. If it doesn't, that's also good. So there's as I say, if one of my big issues is the unity, then obviously I can never close any door with any of the progressive forces that are in South Africa, and the EFF is one of the most significant ones there. So that's my attitude to it. Yeah, as I say, I have no control on other people's attitudes. Yeah.
On the question of when, so you've made this announcement now 3 months after the elections, and as you explained it, your decision was informed by the election results as well. But you've also spoken about your role in setting up the MK party with Jacob Zuma and how you were integral to that last year already. My colleague Tidi Madia spoke with the former national organizer of the MK party, and MacDonald, in that explanation, MacDonald Matabe, he disputed your version of events. I'm not sure if you've managed to hear that yet, but essentially what he's saying was that you weren't involved in the setup. What was your relationship with MK, and how long have you been considering joining MK?
Okay, look, okay, no, I didn't hear that interview, and quite frankly, I think it's just it's not something that's even worth responding to. Okay, let me just tell you just briefly, Mandy, what I was saying here. Let's say maybe around about January, February, but shortly after the ANC's conference in 2022, That's when we first had a very intense discussion with former President Zuma, basically as to what should be the political response and the way forward. And this is someone I've known for a long time, by the way, in a political sense. So this was not unusual for me and him to have that kind of discussion. And obviously, I can't reveal every word for word what we discussed, but it was that type of discussion. And we agreed on a certain approach which we thought should be taken at a political level. And then round about maybe March, maybe April or so, that approach was abandoned in favor of what eventually came to the registration of MK. And then, but after that, for a very long time, maybe 4 or 5 months, we had several engagements. Once again, my role was really just to assist, as I say, in the broader creating a broader movement for change. It was not so much to join. In fact, I had no intention to do so. Yeah.
I think the confusing point that I'm seeking clarity on, and I know that you've had this encounter in a few interviews today, is was there initially an intention for the EFF and MK to be one party, to join together in some way?
Yeah, good question. Yes, that was one of the options that were put on the table. So let me tell you, for example, and all of this, by the way, was known by the EFF leadership. So I was not doing clandestine. It was clandestine as far as the public is concerned, but not from the EFF point of view. Such that in some of the meetings, at least one of the most important meetings, the EFF leadership attended that meeting. And I can also tell you that former President Zuma, for example, was also, because in those meetings, the president of the EFF was not there in the meeting in October, I think. And former President Zuma insisted that he wanted to have a meeting with him. And I facilitated that meeting, and it took place maybe a week or two before the December 16 announcement. So yes, I think at that time, understandably, some of the people in the EFF felt that, well, if we're going to have this unity, let it be done. Let's all contest, for example, under the banner of the EFF, which made sense because the EFF at that stage was the largest of the organizations we were talking to and represented in parliament and so on. So when that didn't work out, then the compromise was that, okay, let's go and contest as separate parties, and we'll revisit this discussion after the elections. That's why you had the so-called progressive caucus discussions. Some of the parties in the broke away, as you know, and went to the so-called GNU and so on. So that's what I'm saying. So what informed this particular decision on my part is partly the current reality. As you know, now MK is the largest of the organizations in the Progressive Caucus, and therefore that does bring about a different nuance to the discussion. And it's not a nuance that was brought by me or President Zuma or Julius Malema. It's a nuance that was brought by the people of South Africa. They are the ones who decided which party they are going to give their vote to, and therefore necessitated, if you like, a realignment in the political landscape, just as there was a realignment with the right-wing forces which are coalescing around the GNU.
Just lastly, Advocate, do you foresee a future for the EFF, and are you expecting other senior members of the EFF to follow you, to follow Floyd Shivambu to the MK party?
Yeah, no, I foresee a future for the EFF. As I say, it's one of the in the broad progressive left. It's the second largest organization, so surely it has and it has had the longest longevity in that it has created some of the inroads which really MK also was able to add to. So I see a complementary role rather than an adversarial one. But whether that will turn out to be like that is not for me to. It's my wish. But if it doesn't turn out that way, then we'll have to find other ways, because we must be obsessed about the outcomes of our struggle rather than the vehicles that we use to achieve those outcomes. Yeah.
Advocate Dali Mpofu, SC, thank you very much for making time to chat to us.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Advocate Dali Mpofu explaining there why he has joined the MK party, why he has left the EFF. What are your thoughts on that? He says that there were no push factors. It wasn't about anything that happened in his relationship with Julius Malema. He spoke about how he was involved with setting up of MK, how one of the options on the table was potentially the joining up of MK and EFF, or falling under one umbrella. Do you see this as a betrayal of Julius Malema? Do you see this as a political survival? Has he followed the path of, well, the biggest party at the moment? Do you believe, like he does, that there is a future for the EFF in South Africa?